So we have a lot of noise going on here today with the O-scale trains running on the upper deck. Gonna shut them down in a minute so you can hear me over there. So as you can see, part 3 is an update where I finally have a functional train running again on the upper deck at about 7 feet up. Put some lighting up here as well. The main update is that the train is running. That's a 4-car passenger train. I'm not looking at it right now. But that was a 4-car passenger train. Pennsylvania, Reading, Seashore Line, something like that. And it's illuminated by picking up track power on the layout. I have a couple of LED rope lights. These are kind of a daylight, bright white. I think they're 5000 K temperature. They're accent lighting up there behind the shelf. The underside, you won't see them where the light's peeking out in the corner there. You'll only see the light coming up above. The light on the bottom will be hidden by the valance once I get it ready. Same thing on this side. Excuse me. You have the lighting in this building here. There's some by that lighthouse way back in the corner. That's a darker light temperature, but you don't really see the two next to each other. So if I turn out the overhead, which is really bright, you could see, I mean, this isn't great camera lighting, but you could see where there's just accent lighting up above. Like I said, underneath, it won't be peeking out there. On this side, same concept. A little bit brighter white. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but that's just illuminating the top deck. So the idea here is that you could run the trains just with that lighting up there, or you could walk through the room's aisles just, you know, it's pretty messy, with that room lighting. Other things that I did, I finally tapped in all of the joists and the studs here. I tapped them into the shelves. I reinforced a couple of areas here and put a lot of stuff up top. So I have it's that beer sign with the lighting on it. Some of the Lionel signs, I put a mirror over here. You can't really get a good view of it, but the concept of that is so I can stand down here and look at it and get a view facing the other way if I need to look around that corner and the train coming back to the bridge. So the idea of that reflection there is just to visualize the place I can't see on the ground. When you get up on the ladder, you can pretty much see everything, but I'm not going to be running a train that way. I put a little bit of extruded foam and made a tunnel here and painted it black, just for a little bit of extra interest. You could see a Lionel tunnel portal up here next to the sign. And then over here is the, not an engine house, what the heck is that called? A station house. And then there's a tunnel portal on the other side of this. I put up a pair of the plate girder bridges. Next to it is a track. There's a work caboose with 2 lights. That's separate track power up there. Right here. If I turn power on, you might be able to see it if I turn it up. There it is. So those are bumpers here. That's illuminated work caboose, and here it shows that track has power. That's just a display track. The idea of that is just to have sample trains or engines sitting there, or extra. I could probably put 7 or 8 pieces of rolling stock there, or I can run a bumper back and forth like a Lionel 50, one of these guys that have bumpers that just go end to end. I have a couple of these, 2 or 3, and they're fun. They just bump back and forth, and they're sort of self-automated. This is the main brains behind the Lionel system, or the O-scale system. It's a MTH Z4000. It's got a dual throttle. This powers the main line. This powers that small spur. And you basically have volts and amps on both throttles. A couple of accessory buttons here. Power switch, overload or short. And a lot of this wiring you see going up, which looks very unsightly here, that's all going to be stapled to the edges of the, it's going to be inside the studs basically. So when the backdrop covers these walls, the wiring is going to be behind it. So that will be hidden. This piece of board right here with the surge protector on it, that is powering the lights up above. It's also powering the beer sign up above. And this is a 1 amp transformer. It's a 16 volt variable. This will just power additional lighting. I don't have it wired to anything right now. I put in a lot of surge protectors at different points. I have about 5 outlets around this room. This one, the only thing I plugged into it is this Rolling Rock sign right now, which is basically just a neon sign. Surge protector, though, has a lot of places to plug in stuff for my DCC power when I run the HO layout. The one back here with the wire going up, that will be hidden. That's overhead lighting. The Roku is hooked up to that 30-inch monitor. You can view television from that or watch Netflix or whatever, and that's my computer desk, which looks like a total catastrophe here. And this will be the future staging yard underneath where I'll keep all the stuff on the tracks underneath this level here that's going to go over top of it. As for anything else that I've done, I can't think of any other updates. I did put this shop light back in. It's a twin T8 4-foot length LED tubes. It's just hanging from the ceiling about a foot down. It's about 7 feet high, the same height as that area. That light shines light down to this mess, which if I back up, you can kind of get a better view of that whole area. That mess is going to be a peninsula coming off the wall about 4 feet, and it's going to be a very narrow aisle walking around into the other side. So the overhead light is going to illuminate that whole side of the room. So you'll have 2 lights up above, which will illuminate each half of the room, and they're both pretty bright LEDs. Those overhead lights are work lights. When you're running stuff, or you know, you don't want those bright lights. It's more when you need to see something, when you're soldering something or sawing, or painting. But for the most part, they'll be off when you're running trains. I like to use the ambient lighting from those items, from those trains. As we come around here, you can see the wiring and another surge protector back here. That will be for the peninsula area. Coming up to the overhead shop light, and this will be, like I said, peninsula and city lighting will be on this side. I did put up a couple signs as well. You can see one there, that's an O-scale sign, and one right there that says yesterday's on it. They're all local signs. And there's a switch up here that you probably can't see it, but let's see. Yeah, here it is here. That's the switch that's going to be illuminated red and green. It's already wired, but it's wired to the switch here. So when it's down on the valence, it will actually be sitting like this on the fascia or the valence. You'll be able to hit this switch and then more or less see if the switch is open or closed by the red and green lighting. I think I'm going to conclude this video because I don't have much else to add. The manual switch on this side where they join back up is about a foot or 2 to the right of that smoke detector on the ceiling and that lighthouse, and that's a manual switch. I can reach up and get that one by the door because it's much closer to the edge. And these 2 bridges here are, one's a kit bridge, the one closer. It has a flashing red light on top of it. It's a plastic Lionel kit that's basically a truss bridge. Next to it is a really old tin plate lookout railroad crossing. It can be wired, but it sounds like a buzzer. It's not a bell. So it sounds terrible. So I don't like to wire it. That's one of the few things I don't like animated on this layout, because it's actually annoyingly loud, or it's a strange noise. It doesn't sound like a railroad crossing, but the thing's probably 70 years old. Next to it, you can't really see it, but the one that doesn't, there's a bridge on the other side. I can't reach it. It's right there. That bridge is another truss bridge. That's an older Lionel bridge. It's made out of metal, and it's not a kit. It's just rusty metal that I re-spray painted black, then did a little bit of a rust powder on it. So there's 2 truss bridges up there to scale. I believe they're 75 feet to scale, and they're pretty big for O scale, but it's a good place to span this area of the closet. Otherwise, we're done here. I'm actually the lights. I didn't really build anything here in this layout. This is all the O scale. The funny thing is, the majority of the top deck is finished, because it's not going to be a finished detailed running layout. It's just a place to run the trains, and I'm going to leave it with the last minute or two is going to be the passenger train running again. I'm going to try to get up on the ladder and get a total view of this whole thing, and I'm going to end it without me talking, because I'm sure I'm annoying whoever's listening to this. So you can see the illuminated cars. I'm going to turn out the overhead lights. Once the train makes a pass, I'll show you an example of the switch as well. This here is the switch. So I'm going to do one more pass, this time showing you an example of this switch as well. If I can do this. I'm going to reverse the direction of the train, and what happens is it has an auto re-railer safety built-in. I'm actually going to test to see if this works right now. If the train is diverted and the switch is thrown, and it says red or green, if it's red to the way it's coming, that means that the train's supposed to wait. The Lionel system acts as a built-in thing that detects it as it picks up. So let's say if it's isolated. Trying to back this thing up here. All right, I hope this doesn't end up in a fail. Oh, yeah, forward. All right, we're backing up. So, see if it works. Alright, so what you saw there was I didn't touch the switch. It automatically went green. I'm trying to video record without me falling off the ladder. I'm sure that would make the best video of the day here. But I'm going to end it with that. What that was I didn't touch the switch and it worked. The insulated switch basically showed that if the train goes in the opposite direction back into the switch automatically detects the wheels coming in, and the current of the track switches it back from red to green and puts the points straight in the direction that it's coming from. So if a train came from the other path, it would also divert it that way. So as long as you have enough track voltage, it's going to pick it up, which is a good thing that it works. Because if you don't do that, then you're running it and the train hits the points in the wrong direction, it'll derail this thing. And these are pretty heavy. And if you're underneath it and it derails and then it tumbles off the side and hits somebody in the head, that's a bad day here. Not only will it hurt me or somebody operating it, but it also will be an expensive lesson. So I'm glad that works. Alright, so I'm going to conclude it here. And if this update made any sense, hopefully you followed it 17 minutes into the video. I'm going to probably start part 4 with the valance. It's going to be back with more construction. These areas here are all going to be covered in an 8-inch band, probably 8-foot lengths of, I bought, it's not masonite anymore, it's called yucca board. And it's basically 1/8 inch thick hard pressed hardboard. It's like a smooth side that's paintable. I'm going to run it around this whole upper deck area and use it as a valance. I'm going to put LED tape lighting underneath it. And that's going to be where the hidden wires are. And you can put some signage up there and such. And it'll finish the look. I'll paint it the same color as the walls, as I have some of this wall paint left in the same color. So until next time.